Mike McCool here in the Royal Examiner studio, and with me today we have Board of Supervisor Chairman Vicky Cook and Commissioner of Revenue Sherry Sowers. I said their name right that time. So anyway, ladies, this is the time of the year that the reassessments come around on all our real estate, and people get up in arms and get all confused and don't know where to go. And so you're going to set us straight what's happening and tell us what it's all about, how it works, and give us the correct information, the real story.
Yeah, well, one of the reasons why we're visiting with you is because we want to let the community know the process and where we are,
right.
and we want to also let them know that we have been, socializing the process and how to read your notice and how the appeal process goes, because there's a series of steps that we go through to set the tax rate, which we are not there yet.
Right.
Has not
And
happened.
the other thing, though, this reassessment happens how often?
Every 4 years.
And this is all in the state code, so it's not something that the Board of Supervisors just pulled out of the air, right?
No. They do have different time periods.
Right. But it happens every 4 years or so, right?
Yes.
So this is it's not something new. All right.
No.
All right, so what's the process? What's going on?
Well, first of all, we wanted to let the community know that we've, again, as I said earlier, that we're socializing, the process. We want to be open, let people know what to expect and how they can communicate back to us.
Okay.
Right. So we've done a lot of social networking, if you will, by putting out videos of, I think we put one out already explaining what we've done, that the assessment is coming up and what to expect with your notices. And that's been on our Facebook and our website.
Sure.
And in fact, I think we showed it at our board meeting was earlier this week.
Right.
So we're starting with that. And then we also have graphics that we've been putting out on the our website that has, explaining all the different details in your notice. Like, at very the top it says this is not a bill.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, you always get that. This is not a bill.
This is not a bill. Yeah, this is a notice. And then of course we've illustrated the notice of what the different things are mean to you. They'll have a table there with some numbers and things like that. And then if you follow through the graphic, it also shows who to contact. We have an 800 number, and if there's anybody at this point in time in the process that has a question about their assessment, they can notify the county via the information that's on that notice.
Sometimes there's a few errors.
Yeah, and so we do that. I know we've been socializing all of this on our Facebook page, and also I understand we've done Channel 16.
Yes,
we've put things out on Channel 16.
But we want everyone to know, so that's why we're doing it on the Royal Examiner, right?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You got it.
All right.
So anyway, again, we know that everyone is concerned about what their rates are going to be, and we just wanted to let our community know that we're open, we're here, we got numbers, we're set up, and help us, we'll help them go through the process, because there's a series of steps that we follow.
So we're only in the reassessment stage at the moment, and what happens after that?
Well, the actual firm has already completed the reassessment.
It's completed, right?
Yes. So right now they have mailed out the notices. That's what's getting ready to come out in the mail to everybody.
Right. So it's going to say your property has been assessed at this amount of money.
Yes.
But there's no bill attached to it yet.
No bill.
Okay.
It says at the top, this is not a bill.
It's not a bill. All right. So when you get the number, don't be surprised. This is what the assessors say your property market value. Is that what it is?
That's
what
correct.
The market value is. Does that mean?
As of January 1st, 23.
Okay, cool. That's good. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to know that. It always feels like we're really rich. Okay, so what comes after this?
It's the appeal process.
Okay.
So they have a phone number out there on the website that they need to go to. There is an appeal form. They can complete the appeal form, and there's different types of appeals that they can do. Mm-hmm. They can email it in. They can call the phone number. mail it in.
Sure. So, what's the reason for appealing? I mean, people see it and say, "Whoa, that's not enough," or it's too much.
If they think it's incorrect, maybe if they talk to their neighbor and they have a similar house and they
And all of a
think
sudden, it's
something's
$100,000 more, and they want to know why.
right. Those are the people that needs to call in.
Right. Right.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, we have a window, right? Is it 4 weeks?
Yes,
to-
there's 4 weeks of dates. They begin January 23rd, which is Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the phone number is active now, so
Okay.
they can call in and
So
make
once we
their
look at
appointment.
this thing and we see that my house is worth X number and then my neighbor's house is worth either more or less, if it's worth more, and I look and say, "Oh, I'm okay. I'm not going to complain because my assessment's too low," right? 'Cause these market values, these assessments really have nothing to do with what your house may sell for or anything like that, does it?
No, they don't go inside.
Right. That's the other thing. They don't go inside, so they're looking at square footage.
Yes.
And they're looking at improvements to your property, like you may have a garage or a shed or a gazebo or any kind of improvements that you've done to your property. Is that correct?
Correct.
So when they look at that, what they did 4 years ago, you may not have had that swimming pool in the ground or that shed built there, so they do a little measurement and come up with a value, right?
Adjustments, yes.
An adjustment, excuse me, that's what it is. So sometimes they look at it, I said, "What did you add to your property in the last 4 years?" "Well, I did build that 2-car garage and I built that mother-in-law apartment out in the backyard." So there are some things that cause things to go up.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
good. So then after the, if we go through the assessment phase,
Right.
then we go into the equalized, and
The Board of Equalization hearings will be next.
Okay,
but
so
that
what
will
is
be a
all
later
that?
date.
What is that?
The first set of appeals is the assessor appeals.
Right.
The second set of hearings are called Board of Equalization. So if you don't make it at the first meeting,
Okay.
we try to push everybody to go to that one.
Right.
But if you miss those dates, then you can always go to the BOE.
Or if you don't like what you heard from the first one, or is that
You can still follow up
okay?
with the
So
BOE.
you have another
yes.
chance. I mean,
yes.
just because you get turned down the first time, you really are adamant about it. You can appeal to the next level,
That's
right?
correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
All right. So what happens after this? So once the things are all settled, the dust is settled, and the door and the books are closed. This is how much the property is going to be. It has been reassessed at. What's the next step?
so then that's when we go and we equalize everything. We equalize the
BOE,
the BOE.
And what is the BOE?
Board of Equalization.
Okay, all right. We don't want to use these names. No one knows what it is, right?
That's true.
All right.
And-
So when does the county get involved to start giving us a bill? How does that happen?
Once the tax rates are set,
And they look at this assessment saying, okay, we've got $600 million worth of property. Now we want to figure out what our budget is, and we divide it all up and come up with so many cents per $100 value. Is that
That's-
how we get that?
that's correct.
All right.
It's a complicated process. They have to go through a
And aren't there state laws that govern some of these assessments and coming up with tax rates? You just can't go and raise it 200% if you don't, or I guess you can. I don't know.
I think there is a law. out
There's
there
some
that-
laws of
that
how much
limits
you
it.
can do, and so we haven't got to that stage yet.
No.
Now,
Now, when does that happen?
so when
March, April,
Okay,
around
all
that
right.
time
Ish.
frame there.
Yeah.
And the bills go out like June.
the bills are due in June.
Oh, that's right.
We usually have to have the tax rates at the latest, like 20th of April.
Okay,
And then we
give
push
people
to
enough
work on the
notice.
books. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
It takes about a month turnaround to get the bills
yeah.
out on the street.
Yep, yep.
So now at that point, when the Board of Supervisors, our primary role is to minimize this financial impact,
right.
and that follows in the equalization
Right.
process.
So the Board of Supervisors have been working on a budget for since last year, really. This budget process is a long process. So you guys on the board now have taken this and looking up of how much money you need to come up with. Is that pretty much how it
Pretty
works?
much, yeah. Right now, I mean, our primary focus is equalizing and keeping the financial impact of
Right.
our community. With adjusting the tax rates,
Right,
based
right.
on the assessments and the appeal process, and we want to make sure that our citizens are. Don't have an enormous bill,
Right,
tax bill, because
right.
we realize the impacts to the community, especially where we are inflation.
Sure.
It would struggle for everybody.
Sure. Now we're only talking about real estate assessment at the moment, right?
That's correct.
So we still have, the county does have other sources of revenue other than just in real estate.
That's
And when does
correct.
all that happen? You know,
Well, I mean, right now, the business license are due.
right. So
They're
there's
due by March
business
1st.
license, machinery and tools. And how,
Personal property
Personal
is
prop-
billed at the same time as the
Yeah.
real estate.
yeah.
Yep.
Due
So
June
it's
5th.
a big number. I mean, it's a lot of balls to keep
A lot
up
of
in the
moving
air.
parts. A lot
Yeah,
of moving
yeah.
parts. That's
People
for
just
sure.
think it's one thing because they see this assessment and kind of like, you know. And then they look at that big budget we got over here and they think, oh my gosh.
So it's a balance, it's a balancing act. But
Yeah.
the board of supervisors were all on board, and we want to make sure that we equalize this and minimize the impact.
Okay.
Based on.
So you're concerned.
We are big time concerned. I mean, it affects everybody.
Right,
Me,
even you, yeah,
you
right.
know. I mean, our seniors. I mean, we know that we need to help everyone.
Sure.
And that's our primary.
I recall
objective.
in years past about, you mentioned seniors, that there was all these other programs that we have that seniors can be exempted from this and exempted from that, and this person is exempted. Is there a lot of exemptions for these taxes?
We have tax relief for the elderly and disabled, and we have our veterans,
Veterans.
exemptions.
I knew there was some. So you can check all that out on your website,
Yes,
right?
our
You have all those
website.
exemptions. So, you may be surprised that you qualify for some of these few dollars
Absolutely.
here, few dollars there. It adds
Absolutely.
up. And that goes back to the concern that the supervisors have, because a lot of people are on limited incomes. And,
Yes.
and of course, they utilize the services less sometimes too. So I think it's fair and balanced.
Yep.
It's like I don't have an electric car, but if I had one, I got to pay extra now because I'm not paying the gas tax. I save money on gas, but now I'm getting, they got a way to wiggle out those pennies out of or dollars out of you.
Yeah.
That's part of the deal.
It's
But
part
try to
of
make
it.
it fair and equitable. I think that's the overall plan, isn't it? To try to make it fair and equitable for everyone, and no one entity is being paying the bill for somebody else.
Correct.
Right, and that's the process of the appeal process.
Right.
That's the process where folks that can come and to the county. Well, of course, I think after it will be the Board of Equalization.
Yes,
after
Board
we
of
go
Equalization
through
after
the
the first
assessment
step.
phase, and then they'll go to them. And as Sherry pointed out, got phone numbers. There's an 800 number, on the notice, and of course with all of our social media outlets. We're putting all that information,
Sure.
and then we go through, and then I think there is a final stage for,
They can appeal to the circuit court
yeah,
Right.
down
yeah.
the
So
road.
So we got so it's not cut and dry. Someone really feels adamant about it, they can take it on up to the higher authority.
absolutely,
They have a right to appeal.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's what these.
And how many
Absolutely.
people do this? I mean, just a kind of round number. People do appeal.
We may have had 300 or so in the past.
Well,
I mean,
that's a substantial number. So that's good. I mean, people, that's what they should do. It's kind of like your right to do that. So.
that's right.
Absolutely, So right now we're in the process of releasing another video through these channels that I talked about earlier of the appeal process. A step by step of the different appeals, who to go to, what it means, and et
Sure.
cetera. Similar to what we've already put out. So that's going to be the next couple of days, I think, is when
Okay.
that will be released, and we're just going to continue to. Put out this information to help everyone and to let them know that number one, that this board of supervisors are listening,
Right.
and we want to make sure that we do everything equitable and follow the law and minimize the impact. We have to do that.
Right. And, these appeal processes, kind of opens your eye. Maybe people see things that you don't see. And that's happened in the past. I know also, whoa, I didn't think about that, or
Yeah.
something like that. So you want people to pay attention and not just accept it, but, look it over.
It
Check it
might
out.
just be a question
Might be
that
a
they need.
question.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Anything.
Yeah.
absolutely. This is a community effort.
That's great. That's what we need to do. Be involved, not just accept it. If you're concerned, hey, pick up the phone and give them a call.
Absolutely.
Sherry doesn't have anything else to do down there. So.
Right. Now,
But-
if
but-
they have a question concerning the tax relief for the elderly or disabled, they can call my office,
Right.
and
Always
I'll be
helpful.
glad to help.
They're always helpful. Truthfully, they are very helpful. I read, just seen that you have made a board of assessment. You've assigned some people to
To the BOE, yes.
The BOE,
Yep,
excuse
they're
me.
local residents who are going to be on the BOE board.
So this changes each time, so there's not always the same people on
No,
there, are they?
it's not the same
And it's just for a temporary appointment, it's for this period of time, then it dissolves and it's over? Is that how that works?
So they're going to be actively involved with that process as well.
Yeah, I read that. So who's on there?
They're
Oh, I should have brought.
Jennifer
Avery, I think
Yeah.
I think she'd be a good. I know
Yep.
she's in the real estate business, but she's involved in the community so heavily that she knows a lot of people. She's involved. She knows, and she's a single mom,
Yeah.
so she knows about watching the dollar. I can tell you, she does that, and so that's good.
Yeah, it's
I
just
read some of the other day. I just want to
Yeah.
see if you remember who was on there.
Amanda Slate,
Amanda Slate. She's another
And there
very
was Brian
Conley,
Yeah,
Conley.
those are good
and
people.
Tommy up in South River.
Yeah,
Bentonville.
because I know some of those people and their community activity that they do, so they're involved in the community. They're just
Yes.
they're not armchair people. I mean, they're actually down
they're
in the
act-
trenches. So that's what you want.
Yes.
People that are really dedicated to do it. That's great. That's a good board.
Absolutely.
Good choice.
We want to make sure we're open and transparent and
Yeah.
have the right people to do this the right way.
Well, the hard part comes now is when it gets over to the treasurer's office. You know, she said, "Don't blame me, blame Sherry." But it's great. It's really an undertaking. I think doing these community outreach videos that you've done, just sharing the process with the community, coming here to see us, and just trying to make it an open process so people don't feel like government's putting their thumb on them and just dictating it, and they have no recourse. You may not get an adjustment, but at least you'll be able to go through it, and people will treat it seriously and look at it.
That's correct.
Absolutely.
And compare it, comparing apples to apples. Like you say, sometimes people think their property's similar, and there's a lot of changes.
There is another area too, which it's pointed out on the website. They can go to the vamanet.com, and out there on that website, they can view all the assessments.
Right.
So if you want to compare your house with your neighbor's house,
There you go. That's
you
cool.
can look them right up.
There's so many things online. I mean, or GIS, GSI, whatever.
Right.
GIS.
GIS. It's amazing. You look at that and see all the property in the whole county and see that's just amazing. The data that we have now online, and it's even going to get more and more and more as we go along. So take advantage of those, the technology, and look at that. I really like that site. I've done that. It's compared things, and then you can look at it and say, I want to see what that neighbor's house really is worth. A lot of stalking of your neighbor, I guess, what it is. But that's great. Use the tools that are available to us. So
Absolutely.
all right. So what else you got on your list there?
No, that's it.
Wow, she brought a list and we covered
I
everything.
was just that my list was all the different social outlets that we
Okay,
have.
yeah.
So like we said, we're on Facebook. All the information is going
Right,
out on
right.
our local channel 16. We have putting information out there. Of course, most importantly is the county website that
Right.
where most of the it's all going to be equal. We're
Right.
going to be pushing all the information,
But the bottom line is you go to the website
you can
to
go
get
to the
all
county
the details.
right?
Right.
And so
Details.
we also have a county YouTube channel that
Mm-hmm.
we're going to be using now to socialize our information, and then periodically, I think it's every Thursday, we have a 95.3 on discussion.
Sure.
And periodically we bring up and kind of keep everyone informed where we are in the process
Sure.
and where to get more information. So, so that was my cheat sheet.
You did good, Vicky. You did great. That's great. Well, we really appreciate you coming in, sharing the information. I know the public really wants to kind of just feel like they have a voice, that
And they do.
Yes.
And
They have a
and-
And they
Right.
do.
And and people, you get at every meeting. They come and a lot of times it's not a question and answer period, but people can vent their frustrations with the government, and people look at it and say, "Well, wait a minute." I know I've heard them say, "Ed, go take a look at that afterwards." So
That's
they
right.
get the county involved. A lot of times people just don't know who to ask.
That's right.
And the answer is there, but they need to just dig around. I've never had any problem with any of these offices, good or bad times. They're always very friendly. Your office, Jamie's office at the treasurer, they're always very helpful, and they want to make sure that people. These are constitutional offices, by the way, and they are elected.
Yes,
So
we are.
that's why they're so helpful.
Yes,
but no,
really.
it's true. They do. They love their. I mean, I noticed that they love their job. Everybody seems to really be serious and really concerned about their neighbors because they are. People that work there, they're your neighbors.
That's right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right.
So,
Again, ladies, I really appreciate you coming in, sharing it. We'll see what maybe get back when we get to the next stage.
Oh, that's a good idea.
A good idea. Come
That's
in
a
and,
good idea.
That's
don't
good.
forget about
We can
us.
do that.
Share it, and we'll put some links to all these questions on the website. We'll put all these other links in there. We'll put some video links so people can watch these things and kind of keep pushing
Oh, that
it
would be
out.
great.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
really
Great.
appreciate that.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, Mike.
Thanks again.